This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Tuesday, December 8th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So first thing, obviously, is this CRIS has been just beautiful trading coming into this thing pretty much all morning. You can see the size of this volume even starting off early this morning, right around that 7 o'clock point. So let's talk about what we have so far. Ton of buying over this 450 level. So it started with actual buying at 450, but if we continue up, you can see right here, 470, huge buying, 468 to 473, huge buying, and it just continues as we go up. You can see coming into these 80s, some really nice bursts right here, 482 to 484, 90s. I mean, at the end of the day, it's got all the buying in the world that it needs to get towards that 5. I'm not surprised at all that it's pulling it back a little bit, because that 470 and basically above, just huge buying. So as of right now, even though we don't have prints at 5, if we pull back enough here and we're able to get a trigger up, perfectly comfortable with that trade. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to have to come up to the 5 level. We're going to have to get ask prints. We're going to have to get a pullback, and then we're going to have to trigger up from there. Unfortunately, based off of that, the prints that we had within that buying, are we going to get enough of a pullback to take a trigger this close to 5? Probably not. So the more likely game plan is going to be getting those ask prints to come in at the 5, and then obviously after that pullback, looking for a trigger back up. But overall, this thing has way more buying than it needs to be able to break that 5 just clean without any problems whatsoever. Next thing looking at is Laser. Now, obviously, this is a stock that's been on a rampage. Has a story already, but I just don't care about it. We're going to look at it just as a brand new stock coming into today. But when you have a stock that goes from 40 to 47 over the course of an hour in the morning, definitely need to be paying close attention to it. So taking a look at the actual prints themselves, as it's been coming up from this 44 level, nothing really that crazy. 44.70 had some pretty decent prints. Definitely with a stock like this, you got to see a lot. It's print personality, even though right now the overall print personality looks pretty small. When it does come to levels, it has absolutely no problem whatsoever being able to print big amounts. So you can see we're sitting right around that 45 level. It's going to be a hard level for it to be able to hold, especially coming up on pretty much, I mean, 40.70, don't get me wrong. That's a beautiful burst of buying that came back in, but see how weak we got here at 45. So if it's this weak, we're not going to expect this thing to hold on above that 45 level. We're going to be expecting it to come back down. But overall, right now, the prints are a little bit just too, a little bit all over the place. There's just not anything that's that definitive in there. But I promise you, once we get closer to the open of the market, we're going to see some bigger prints come into this, and we're just going to make our decisions right based off of the controlling prints that we see coming in. But overall, guys, this is a huge range stock, so we should have a lot of fun with that today. Next thing we're looking at is SFIX. So it almost looks kind of like a buyout, but obviously you can see either earnings or whatever. I really care less what the catalyst was, as usual. So coming up and we looking at the actual print itself, unfortunately coming towards that 50 level, you can see just weak, not really much to didn't really show much there, which doesn't really help that much. But, you know, we can see we're pulling back, obviously, from there. The only problem is to take a trigger towards that. It's just not enough. So there's a lot of potential here. There's, you know, the range is usually $1.87, which we're going to have to expect a way more than that, considering it's already trading almost, you know, 500,000 shares. But overall, just be careful of getting stuck in this consolidation, not really being able to break out. We need this thing to get out there, give us some prints, and really start to move somewhere for us to even think about trading it. But like I said, it's got that potential, something, you know, 36 up to 50. That's a huge move. So we just needed to show us something. You know, like I said, 50 would have been great. It was very early. You know, you're talking about right at 8 o'clock. So I'm not that shocked, but at the same time, we need to see something there for us to really, like I said, make that decision. Otherwise, if we don't get any new buying, we're just going to see this thing end up coming right back down, which is, there's no problem either, because, you know, there's short shares available for it as well. But once again, it comes down to those prints, and we just haven't got it yet. Next thing looking at is LXRX. So it's a little bit iffy, especially being, you know, the price is okay. 250 is kind of that benchmark that I look for. Not being afraid of it getting halted if it gives us a 50-cent move the second the market opens. Coming up before, we did get a little bit of buying. We had some good volume coming in at that 250. So it's kind of sitting around. Again, there's not a great trade off of it, but if you look over here, I mean, these type of prints, 234 to 237, 237 to 240, it shows that it certainly has the interest in the buying to be able to, at a minimum, get back up to this double top. And then obviously we want to see more of that type of buying to come in as it's moving for it to be able to break past that actual double top. So overall, it's okay. It's towards the bottom of my list. We definitely have some better things that we're looking at so far. Other than that, obviously, you know, the EV stocks just continue to make their moves, and everything that we've just been continuing to watch pretty much is still, you know, still showing some, but that's what I got so far for the morning. Now, anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there that I missed? As SFIX is coming up to 50, so definitely watch the prints that are coming in from there. BFT, so I saw that this morning. I did see it jump up, but the problem is that look at the way it's trading. Yesterday, it just sat in that consolidation. We could throw it on the side list. It's got everything it needs for a list. It's just, yeah, yesterday, I mean, it gave so much, you know, so many good stories, but the chart itself, you could see, just ugly. So some other stuff to look at, but definitely, you know, it's got, like I said, it's got all the criteria, so there's no problem putting on there, just, you know, being able to trade. Yeah, so PLTR, obviously, you know, LI, all those, you know, XBEV, all these type of stocks that we've seen just making these type of moves. I don't think that this fits into the car, but at the same time, it fits that type of the breakout moves that we've been seeing coming in a lot of those stocks out there. All right, guys, so remember, we have class at 10 o'clock. I will talk to everybody in the chat right now, and happy trading.